So we're now at this inflection point where we have to be able to log in better or continue as a guest. But the first thing we are going to do is actually log in, log out, do all those things better than what we've done so far. So that means that our checkout process is going to have to be on hold for just a moment, or at least for just this video, to improve our login, log out function, which will make a lot more sense once we go to that next portion. Okay, so what I want to do now is go back into Sublime Text and open up my views inside of e-commerce, right? So we created some of these in here as examples, but we now no longer want to have our login and register pages here, and we don't want the form in there either. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a brand new app, and I'm going to call it Accounts. So Python manage.py, start app, and it's called Accounts. And this is actually where a lot of our authentication and related things will end up being. So first and foremost, the URLs for register and login, or the views and the URLs are going to change to being in there. So I'm going to paste that in. And I also want to bring in the forms here. So forms.py is going to come here. And we're going to grab the login and register form there as well. So let's bring that in here. Okay. And I actually probably need a few more imports here from these forms. And I'm going to grab those at the top, bring them into our brand new forms. And then we see our views. We're probably going to have to import a few things here as well. So let's actually just, kind of copy and paste the imports from this. Just copy that. Since we've already done it, we don't need to reinvent the wheel here. The one big thing is I'm not going to have that contact form. I'm not moving that just yet. Okay, so I've got my login and my register. That's great. So now I need to change my URLs for it, for specifically login and register from there to being from accounts.views, import those two things. The next portion of this would be changing on settings.py is to make sure this accounts app is in here. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to move my templates to being inside of this account app. So I'll say templates and new folder accounts. Oops, accounts. And then another inside of here, we're going to put in those files that we already created for Auth. So I'll go ahead and reveal in Finder. So just basically moving these over into my accounts and then into templates, accounts, boom. Okay. And with that, I can now delete this account or Auth folder. I don't need that anymore. So I'll delete it. And I'm going to go back into my accounts views and change this from being Auth to accounts and accounts. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and make sure that we've got everything done correctly. Run the server. Looks like I might have some saving errors. So we saved everything. Looks like it's doing okay. We've got to register and log in. Those are there. They're still active as to what they are. And yes, I mean, I probably could design them a little bit better so they don't look so bad, which we'll do eventually. But that's actually not the key as to why we're doing this. We're doing this because of redirects and how the redirects work, and then making sure that if they're on the checkout page, that when they log in on that checkout page, it actually will redirect them back to that checkout page. That is the key thing that we're doing here. And it's going to be true for login or register. So we definitely want to keep these things into like the general thought, right? We want to make sure that those redirects are actually coming. So there's a few different ways on how we could go about doing this. Now, the first one is we can actually get the redirect URL. So we'll say next, and I'll do it like this, and I'll just say request.get next. Okay, so that's one way on how we can get next. I can also do that as well. So we'll just call it next post. And same thing, we'll do it with whether it's the get data or the post data. So this is where we're going to be sending that next URL. So where it should be redirected to is the point. So we don't want to just accept anything by default, right? So we don't want them to be able to say, oh, the next URL is Google or the next URL is whatever. So we want to come in here and import something else called Django.utils.http import is safe URL. So when I'm saying is safe URL, we're just making sure that these next things, wherever it's going after they log in or after they register, those next things will, sort of give them the right redirect. We're really just focusing on the URL or the login page right now so we can see it in action. So what that means is down here, I want to get that redirect path is going to be this. Like whatever's next, that's where it's going to redirect to. So we just want to say if is safe URL of either the next post or the next in general. So I'm going to go one more logical thing here, and we'll just say redirect path equals to, well, it's going to be either next or next post, right? So it's going to be one of those two things. So if the redirect path works and we just want to do request dot get host, then we'll return redirect to that redirect path. Otherwise, we'll just redirect to where we had before, right? So that was just that home page. So again, this is after they log in. It's going to go to one of these two things. Okay. Well, actually, we could say or none. Okay, it's going to be one of those things. Okay, cool. So let's try it out. I'm going to go into my login, and I'm going to add in next equals to /checkout. Okay, and I'm going to log in, hit submit, and it brings me to checkout. Now, of course, it's actually cart, so /cart/checkout. Try it again, and it brings me to cart checkout. What if I tried it with, like, let's say, for instance, www.google.com. I hit login. It goes to www.google.com, but what if I did HTTP www. It just brings me back to, that page right there. So let's try that one more time, and we'll just say, and next equals to http://www.google.com. Hit enter, make sure it's actually in there, and hit submit, and there it goes. That's actually showing how it should have worked. Okay, cool. So that is showing that, hey, we can do it with next. Well, what about this post data? How do we actually handle that portion? I'm also going to get rid of these print statements. I no longer need them because we've already proved that this works. Okay, and we'll leave this one in for now. Okay, so and all as well as the error statement as well, but I don't need these things. Okay, cool. So now that we've got that, I probably should have this logout method work as well. So in my e-commerce URLs, I want to just bring in that login logout method. And to do this, we are going to just use the logout view here. This is the URL for it. It's in Django contrib auth. So we can come in here and do from Django contrib auth views. We're going to import that logout view. So now we can actually log out. We haven't been doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that in as well. This is also important for the checkout process. And we just do logout.as view and log out here. Okay. So now that we've got that, let's go ahead and just really, we would need to update our nav bar to have that. So I'm going to copy this login URL and again, log out as logout URL, and then scroll down to wherever logout was. Here we go. We actually don't need this if request path is active. We really don't need that, but I'm just going to keep it in just to, test things out. Okay, so I refresh, click logout. It actually took me to this page after I've logged out, so I don't want that. So instead, what I want to do is change, which we can see in the documentation, but change the logout redirect URL. So I'm going to just go ahead and go into my settings. I think we already did this for our login success. We might have not. So login, we did not. So I'll leave that out for now. But basically, I'm going to have my login redirect URL. I want it to bring them back to login. That's it. So we'll try that again. And I'll log in now. There we go. I hit log out. It brings me back to log in. Okay, cool. So this is a good start, right? Now when I go to checkout, I can actually have the ability to do that login, log out portion once I actually created some products. So I add in some products, add it to my order, go to checkout. Now is where it makes sense that all of this stuff has changed, because we now need to actually add it into the checkout process. So I realize we kind of went a little fast on this authentication stuff, but we really kind of already covered it pretty much in detail. I just moved a bunch of things. And then this is the key part, is the safe URL redirects, because when we log in on our checkout view, we want to have them redirected right back to that checkout. So once they log in, they should come right back to being able to check out, instead of going to the homepage and then having to click on their cart and then checking out again. That is like just way too much effort. We want to make it nice and easy on them for checking out. So that's what we'll do in the next one. So stay with us.